Good afternoon, listeners. Today I'm going to chat to you about something actually very relevant in today's world. So much of today's life is so fast-paced. It's very easy for a person to feel so out of control. Things are just happening. Schedules are changing and setting themselves and then resetting themselves. People need to balance work, social lives, demands, whether your own demands, your parents' demands, your children's demands, whatever they may be. Life has sped up, and it's much easier for people to feel very out of control than it is for people to feel like they have their lives in control. One of the greatest reasons for this is because of a concept called an external locus of control. And today I'm going to highlight and identify two things for you to think about going forward. One is an internal locus of control, and the other is an external locus of control. For a person to feel very controlled and calm and in control of their lives, they need to ideally have an internal locus of control. What does that mean? What that means is life happens around me, and I don't allow what happens around me to totally absorb me. I understand that it's happening. I understand people respond certain ways to me, but fundamentally, I feel grounded, and fundamentally, I choose and I decide what impact the people around me are going to have on me. That internal locus is I look at me to decide the way forward. Now, an external locus of control is I look at the environment. I look what people tell me to determine the way forward for me. Now, if we think of today, if we think about how people are naturally attached to their phones, if we look at the information the phone gives them and the sensations that they're getting, the feedback they're getting, think about people on Instagram, think about people on Facebook, think about people on Snapchat, think about especially the younger generation, kind of teens in high school, in primary school kids. They're constantly out there looking for reassurance or looking for guidance on how to be reassured. So what are you actually doing? You're giving the outside world permission to validate whether you have worth or you don't have worth. And you're allowing the outside world to determine whether your day is going to be a good day or a bad day. And what we're needing ideally for you is to understand that you need a rule for yourself. An internal locus of control comes from an example such as the following. If you think of a child can go to school and a child can be on the playground, and a child can have some child make a very snotty comment about them, whether it's something about their appearance or not. And that child can identify whether they're actually going to take that information and absorb it and allow that to define themselves, or whether they're actually going to understand and say, look at the bigger picture. So what I'm saying is, here's a pie. Am I going to focus on one rotten slice of the pie and ignore everything else? Or am I going to try and understand that rotten slice a bit better so that I can rather pay attention to the other slices of the pie? And what that will mean is that child will look at that child and try and understand that child's circumstances and what has led to that child behaving in that way. So what that would warrant is a level of empathy and understanding to try and make sense of why that person would respond that way. And above all else, to love and surrender, that no matter what that child said, you have a choice. You can either allow that child to ruin your day, or you can allow that child to be able to rethink what they've done by being extra kind to that person, extra nice to that person, and just understand that child might be struggling, and that's why nasty comments are coming out. Now, I realize as a child, that takes a lot of maturity, and that takes a lot of insight and feeding from parents to make those children aware. But I want you to think about as adults, how often does that happen to you? Even in the workplace today. How often does someone come with a snide remark or a cutting comment, and it really cuts deep? If you have an internal locus of control, what you're going to do is you're going to pause a moment, and before you react to that, you're going to look at that person, and you're going to try and understand their circumstances, and you're going to try and understand what could have possibly led to them having a comment like that. And in that moment, if you can provide surrender and love and give that person grace, you are exercising an internal locus of control. That you're saying, I don't have to show you that I'm better than you. I don't have to respond in a way to smash you down. So you're not displaying arrogance and you're not displaying anger. You're actually displaying grace. So much grace is needed in the workplace today. So much grace is needed to feed an internal locus of control and to obliterate an external locus of control. So you have a choice. The world will always react to you in certain ways, and a lot of the time it will be undesirable. But you have a choice. You can choose how you want to respond to the world out there. How empowering is that? Because you have the choice to shift your perception. You have a choice to shift your understanding of the situation. And you have a choice to choose to respond differently and show that person love and surrender through grace, instead of showing that person what society shows, arrogance and anger. You can choose not to be an arrogant person. You can choose not to be an angry person. You can choose to be an empathic person. I challenge you. Start developing and adopting a greater sense of an internal locus of control. And you will see that no matter what is happening around you, things can shake around you. But if you're constantly challenging yourself to look at things in a different way, you are growing within you an internal locus of control. And that is developing far greater strengths and resiliences than running commentary from colleagues. So I wish you all the best. And I encourage you, when something knocks you, first step, try and look at the bigger picture here. Try and understand why this comment was made. Step 2, try and encourage yourself to shift your perception of the situation by not hyperfixating on the thing that's happened, but try to focus on the opportunities that you can get from what has happened. See the opportunities so that you can take steps for greater opportunities. And that will feel so empowering and so rewarding. Enjoy developing your internal locus of control.